This session was recorded live on Facebook.
So the next question is, what is self-care or self-love, and how does it differ from selfishness? This is an important question too, because we understand that selfishness is the root cause of many of the ills on this planet, if not all of them. If you look at greed being what you are wanting for yourself without consideration for others, we certainly don't want to be selfish. And yet, in Jesus' great commandment, love God, love yourself as a child of God, and love others as yourself, we see we're just number 2 in line there, right after loving God. So we know we have to take care of ourselves, but we're also supposed to take care of one another. Where is the line? It's simple, and it's actually fairly easy once you start to practice it. You consider yourself and your own needs equal to the needs of others who are in your particular sphere of influence in that moment. Keeping in mind that you actually only get to make your own choices for yourself. So in other words, sometimes we think we're helping other people by doing something for them, but in reality, it's actually us being selfish, wanting to feel good about who we are by serving someone else, but we haven't actually put ourselves in their place necessarily, and we're giving them what we imagine they might want, or what we might want if we were them, if we're really giving some deep thought to it, may or may not be true. And if you are coming to a place where it's your needs or their needs, then bring it to God in prayer. In other words, if it's either or, because I would have to say that that is rarely true. If ever, I guess there's always exceptions, but in God's world, there's enough for everyone, and everyone's authentic needs can and will be met. It's just that lots of times we don't really know what that is. So there's a story I remember from a book I read. It's a true story. It was a memoir called The Hiding Place about a family in Dutch Holland during World War II who hid Jews. And there were 2 elderly sisters who had never married. They were in their, elderly. It was elderly at the time. They were in their 50s. Now they would be considered pretty young still, but anyway, neither of these women had married, and one of them was up front working in the watch shop with the father, and one of them was taking care of the house. And unbeknownst to anyone, they were both rather miserable in their chosen tasks. The one who was taking care of the watch shop got sick and ended up having to spend some time in bed, so the other one had to come forward from the house and help the father in the watch shop. Discovered they absolutely loved doing that, loved working on the watches, loved working with the father, loved working with the people who came into the shop. And then the other one got secretly better, but didn't let the other one know, because discovered really loved taking care of the house, really loved making the home a beautiful place to live, and really loved turning almost no food into somehow a meal for the family, and so on and so forth. And once they figured it out over time, it's like, hey, I think we were in the wrong roles, They were able to settle into what worked for both of them. This happens a lot of times when we're having an internal struggle and calling ourselves selfish. It also happens, where people want something from us. They want us to be what they want us to be. And they're calling us selfish when really it's selfish of them to want us to be what they want us to be. Bottom line is, God gave you dominion over only one soul, your own. So as long as you're not taking more than your share and stepping on somebody else, chances are you can trust that you are appropriately providing self-care and self-love for yourself as needed. Because the other thing that God did is He made us loving. And when our needs are met, we love God, we love ourselves, our needs are met, it's the natural outflowing for us then to serve others. It's the natural next step. We serve others from a fullness of our own sense of purpose, our own sense of value, our own sense of worth, our own sense of being loved. Lots of people, well, mostly women, let's be honest, lots of women who feel very terribly about themselves and don't take care of themselves at all, spend a lot of time and energy running around trying to serve others when what they're really trying to do is just feel good about who they are. And if that's the case, they would be better served and serving others too by going to God first in relationship and asking God to help them learn to love themselves, see themselves as God sees them, come into harmony with the true fullness of who they really are, and then be that fullness, and then go out and serve from there. That's what you want to do. So self-love and self-care are very important. They're part of God's plan, and they don't make you selfish. You'll know the difference. And if you're ever unsure, as always, bring it to God. And you still have to discern, and I'm going to do a whole separate video on discernment that obviously won't be part of this series because this is our last live presentation. But I will be doing a video on discernment because it's really important. Yes, and selfishness is always thinking only of your own benefit without the benefit to others. Selfishness is thinking only of yourself. Self-love considers yourself as well as considering the needs of others.